Hey everyone, before we get into the reading, I just wanted to say that this is actually a sample video from my Patreon. I do reading and explanation videos like this every month, and there's also lots of bonus content on there, such as full HD renders of my thumbnails, as well as scrap videos that didn't make it to the main channel. With that being said, enjoy the reading. This story was originally posted by Cyanide Life in r/The Truth Is Here. Post 1, which is called Multiple Cases of Lost Time at My University, goes as follows. So, I go to a relatively old college built in the 1800s, and there's a bunch of stories of it being haunted, but I don't really buy into that much. I've been here a couple years already and haven't seen anything too weird, minus what I'm about to say, which is possibly the weirdest thing that has ever happened to me. My roommate is never at the dorm. She always just stays at home and commutes to school for classes, which basically means I live alone in my dorm. As an introvert, I could not be happier. After dinner, I usually just go back to my room, lock the door, and work on homework. So a few nights ago, I was at my desk working on a paper in the dark and listening to music on my phone. All of a sudden, however, the music stopped and my laptop switched off on its own. Neither the computer nor my phone would turn back on, like something had just disabled all the electricity in the room. At that point, I just kind of accepted my fate and decided that would be a good stopping point for homework. It was probably after midnight anyways, and the next day was a Saturday, so I didn't need to use my phone to set an alarm. I decided I'd probably just go to bed and let both devices charge. Less than a minute after everything shut off, there was a knock at my door. I remember walking to the door and going to look through the people, but after that, I remember nothing. On top of that, when I checked the door, it was unlocked. I never leave it unlocked, even when I'm in the room. I will check the door 3 times an hour out of paranoia, just to make sure I did not forget to lock it. I figured it must have been my roommate who came to my room that night, and I was just so tired I didn't remember. So I texted her to tell her she'd forgotten to lock the door last night, but she responded by saying she was never at the apartment. I thought she was lying or something, but she FaceTimed me and she was in a completely different state. The only 2 people I would have opened the door for were for her and campus security, and I have no idea why campus security would have been at my door past midnight, especially since I was making 0 noise and no one else has a key, so I would have had to be the one to unlock the door. Nothing in my apartment seemed out of place or missing. I finally assumed that I must have dreamt the whole thing and that I'd somehow unlocked the door in my sleep. My phone and laptop were working fine after all and showed no signs of damage. A couple days later though, I started telling my friend in class what had happened, and as soon as I mentioned that my electronics weren't working, some other girl that I didn't even know butted in and asked, "Was there a knock on your door after?" This girl proceeded to match my story almost exactly. She was in a room, all the electricity shut off, and there was a knock on her door. She went to check through the people, and she remembers nothing after that. Her only difference is that she woke up on the floor next to her bed and not on top of the bed. She says she also knows someone that this happened to, but she won't tell me who. I'm just thinking that if there's 3 of us, this may have happened to a lot more people that we don't know. Has anyone else experienced something similar? Is there anything I should do about this? I don't think campus security would do anything about it since nothing was stolen. And I wasn't hurt or anything. There aren't even cameras in the building. And either way, campus security barely does anything about actual crime, so if I brought this up, I'd just get laughed at. What was this and what should I do? Of course, right after this was posted, people in the comments started theorizing like crazy. So OP made a second post compiling a ton of theories. I won't be covering all of them as some of them are pretty out there, such as the military doing experiments on college students, but I'll cover the ones that I think are relevant. Theory 1, everybody was hypnotized. You may be like, what? How is that conclusion drawn? Well, OP says that all 3 people who have been affected by this phenomenon have also been susceptible to hypnosis, as all of them were hypnotized previously when a hypnotist came in at a school fair and hypnotized them. Say that 5 times fast. Now, I personally don't believe this theory for 3 main reasons. Number 1, hypnotism does not explain the electronics suddenly shutting off before the case of lost time. Number 2, many people say that you have to be willing to enter a state of hypnosis and cannot enter it without consent. And number 3, the motivation just isn't there. The second theory is that these 3 students somehow traveled into an alternate dimension for a very short period of time, and then upon coming back to their base dimension didn't remember anything. Now, this is up to you if you believe it. I personally don't believe it because it doesn't make sense that 3 random students all in one college would just suddenly pop out of one dimension and into another. But it is possible. But there is a non-zero chance that such an event could technically occur. Theory number 3. This is all a hoax made up for funny internet points. Like any story about the paranormal from the internet, this story must be taken with a very, very heavy load of salt. I personally do not believe this story is a hoax, however, due to the original posters posting history. For one, before making the post telling their story, they had posted the hypnotist subreddits, asking about if you could be hypnotized without your consent and how to undo it. Number 2, they often respond to comments and were very, very active in their own thread, showing genuine interest and curiosity at the events surrounding them. And finally, number 3, after making this post and the follow-up post, they disappeared, and no posts have been made from that account since. So with all that being said, I'll let you draw your own conclusions about the university that fell out of time. Thank you all so much for watching, and I would like to thank my 4 Patreon supporters: Snickerdoodle, Mortified Penguin, Rylan Wav, and Mac. Thank you all for supporting my channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can support me, as well as get access to videos like this every single month for just $1. Check the link in the description. Thank you all for watching. It is I, Nightmare Keys, signing out.